collectors and Transformer fans? It's the one and only Optibotimus coming with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Kingdom Deluxe Class Warpath. We started off taking a look at the Kingdom figures with the core class, and now we're on to the Deluxe, which brings us a really cool new package. You can see you do have that Transformers text with the Generation logo. Obviously, you got the Kingdom logo right there. And then you have a much smaller window that showcases the figure, and a lot of really nice package art. You can see that it kind of wraps around here. It's on this diagonal sort of thing, but you got a really cool image of Warpath in his robot mode there. You got him in his tank mode. Of course, you got the very volcanic looking background, which looks amazing. Got the arc right up there. Come around to the side of the package, and we have new side art, which shows off some really cool characters and some nods to what we will be getting possibly in the Kingdom sort of series with the golden disc. That's really cool. Come around to the back of the package, you can see that he transforms in 26 steps. And again, you got images of him in his robot and his vehicle mode. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Bam! Wow! Here we have Warpath opened up out of his packaging and obviously in his tank mode. Now, starting off first, these Kingdom figures, starting with the Deluxe class and going up, seem to include these collector cards. And it appears that they're different for each one. With Warpath here, you can kind of see I got Black Arachnia. I love the holographic foil image on there. Really very cool. It says Black Arachnia, Predacons, all that fun stuff. But absolutely love that. You come around the back, you got an image of the golden disc. But what's cool is you can also peel this off. And I'm not going to take it all the way off because I don't want to ruin it, but you can see that little holographic foil thing just peels away, and then you got a really cool artistic image here, which is reminiscent of the package art for Black Arachnia herself. I don't know what it says down there. I want to try and keep some of it attached, but you lift that up, and yeah, I have no idea what that says, so there's that, but I love that. And it does seem to stick on here fairly well, so it doesn't necessarily feel like it's going to damage anything. Just be careful. But there you go. You got a nice new collector card. And here we have Warpath himself. And this is an absolutely terrific figure. The character of Warpath is very unique. And one thing that I love about this figure is it's also very unique. The transformation on this is really very cool. Looks wise, as you can see, he definitely has a very G1 style look. Got that very bulbous tank section up here. You got the tank treads, which have a nice white paint throughout the entire thing. He does have wheels on the bottom, and he rolls, but all of these kind of break up, so it makes sense that these aren't going to be functional. But what it basically looks like is well, honestly, it almost looks like it's all molded in white, because when you look in the side here, it's as if like this whole section here is painted red, and the red paint actually matches really nicely. I really like the way that looks. A lot of real great detail throughout the entire thing, kind of showing off the armor, everything. You got a nice Autobot logo right there. You can see that the turret can rotate and also can move up and down here, not at this section. But you got a lot of, like I said, really great paint detail, or molded in detail throughout this entire thing. Absolutely terrific. I love it. I really, really do. There are some aspects that I do have an issue with. We'll get to that here in a bit, but for comparison, this is the one that I have used in my collection since about 2011, so 9 years. This has been the Warpath on my or in my display. This was the Generations one. You can see he's like that H-tank sort of thing. I absolutely love this one. This is a great figure as well. Very cool updated look. If you remember way back, this is his missile. I trimmed it. Let's see. It still shoots, but I trimmed that off. Probably trimmed off a little more than I should have, because it does have a hard time sometimes of getting in there proper and then staying in. But it does still shoot, as you can see. So there's that. But like I said, this has been my Warpath for a number of years, and this was never a bad figure by any stretch of the imagination. It was definitely more of an updated look for him, which is what the Generations, the Classics, all of those figures were meant to do. Kind of give updated looks for it. Whereas this is more designed with the Kingdom line, the Siege, Earthrise, all of them have been more or less designed to homage their original looks. And while I love this, this absolutely is taking its place in my display. It's what I personally love, and why I don't have a problem like a lot of people do with the Masterpiece figures kind of giving a little bit more of a cartoon style look. I love the cartoon look for these guys. Now, where I do have a problem, and you can see, I mean, everything else looks pretty good, would be that it unfortunately does require some parts forming, and it seems kind of essential. So to transform them, you come around here, this entire section here, you're going to pull away. It tabs in on the bottom and then at the top. Now, it also does a really good job of holding everything together. It doesn't stay in that well. As you can see, as soon as you separate it, it creates a gap there. Then you got to put this in here, and it kind of locks everything in here a lot better. Although now I'm looking at it, it's not even tabbed in proper. Something like that. So, I mean, that bothers me that you have to do that with this. It doesn't ruin the figure or anything like that. And at least, you kind of have weapon storage. I just wish that you didn't have to have it to keep everything locked into place like that. That's really all it is. So the rest of the transformation, I'm going to set that off to the side. I like turning this off just to kind of get that out of the way. Take this. You're going to pull this kind of away. Just wedge it from the hand area. You can lift that up and then kind of move that back. Then do that here. Just like so. Take these little pieces here. You're going to fold those down on both of the legs like that. Then there's a lot of rotating here. So we're going to rotate this. You had it like this. Rotate this out. And then you're going to rotate that back around like that. Then take this entire section. And let's do it on this side as well. So we're going to rotate that out. And then, let's see. We're going to bring that down. Sorry. And then you're going to rotate that back like that. Then rotate that all the way around. Take this piece right here and rotate this back and in like that. And then take this piece and fold this in right there. Now you have that leg done. So let's do that on this side again. I did that a little bit quickly. So you had it like that. You brought this piece down. You're going to rotate this piece back. Well, let's see. You can fold that down, and then you can rotate that all the way around, spin here, then take this entire section and fold that back. And straighten out the legs. A lot of rotating and stuff here for the legs. I do like it. I think that is a cool way to do it, which is nice. Then take this, you can just hinge this back like so. You know, rotate this back around. Now this part does get a little bit tricky to do here. You want to lift this piece up, and then you have this little cavity. Fold the little flap in. Keep that all the way down. Fold the little flap in, and then push that entire flap there through that cavity. Then bring this section up like that. Fold this piece back on the back turret section, or whatever that thing's called. Rotate his head around. Bring these pieces in. Locking that in place. Then you can collapse the turret as far in as you want, or you can leave it a little bit out. Personal preference, really. And then bring this entire assembly up. That will lock into place. You have to do that for this. This is a tricky part right there. Kind of bend that. Fold this piece down. Bend there. Fold that piece down. And there you go. When you're done, let's see. Yep, there we go. We're good. There you have Warpath in his absolutely amazing and very G1 accurate looking robot mode. But again, an absolute wonderful representation of that G1 character that I know and love. Now, as a Deluxe, he is a little bit smaller. You can see that the transformation, though, is fairly involved. But by comparison, this was a Deluxe figure back in 2011. And as you can see, there is a pretty substantial size difference. Let me collapse that a little bit. I mean, you can bring it all the way in, you put it out a little bit with personal preference. But this guy, in terms of the transformation, is fairly simplistic by comparison to this guy. But what's cool is, you know, he was a mini-bot, so he's going to be a little bit smaller. Let's bring in a couple other deluxe figures. Here is Run Amok. You can see he's a little bit taller. Let's bring in, these are all ones that I just have sitting here. Here's a Bailiff. He's a smaller dude by comparison. But what I love is that even while, you know, Run Amok is a deluxe, I honestly don't feel like they skimped too much with this guy, because that engineering on him is really very, very well done. Now, this section right here, shout out to one of my channel members, FC, who brought this up. You know, he's kind of getting annoyed, and I can't blame him, with a lot of the parts forming basically just becoming shields. And that's definitely the case with this guy. All of the images I saw, like, constantly had this on there, and I always thought that looked a little bit weird. But what I do like is you can actually take this off. You do have a hole here on the back of them that you can't put it like that. This piece right here bends down and gets in the way. But you can put it kind of right there, which does do a good job of kind of homaging that original G1 toy. I do have it, but it is in storage. I'm not exactly sure where it is. But you can see that a lot of these Warpath figures always had this little part that would come up and kind of cover up his head. So I like the fact that you can do that, and it keeps his arms and everything fairly clean. The overall look, though, is wonderful. Like I said, you do have the big giant chest thing right here. You can't extend that out. There's a little bit of a friction. So if you extend that all the way, it really shouldn't be that far out. I mean, maybe a little bit, but it is a little bit looser right there. You can see that it kind of like wants to move out. So I don't know. I mean, personal preference, I guess. But this is where I was seeing or talking about how like this whole part here, or at least this section, is painted white. You can see the inside is all in this white molded plastic. And then everything else is painted, well, other than his hand. That's a separate piece. You can see that little white knob right there. So I think they did a really good job of matching the red to the molded red on him, which, again, looks really very, very sharp. I'm just so impressed. You can even kind of put that off to the side if you kind of wanted to. I mean, that makes it look a little bit better. I do wish that you could rotate it all the way down, but I don't really think there's a way that you can do that. What is this? And there's a little post right here. I guess maybe you could plug that into his butt. There's a little hole right there in a little post. So, well, I guess you can do that. That looks stupid. But maybe just leave it off to the side. Don't push it all the way down, because that will restrict things there. So that's okay. That's not bad, I guess. I mean, that might be a little bit too much for some people, but absolutely gorgeous. You can see that the head sculpt on there really does nicely resemble Warpath. Really nice eyes. You got the mouth plate right there. Great white color around his eyes as well. Again, really nice molded detail throughout the entire thing. I mean, this absolutely nails the look of him in every way possible. I think it's great. He does have, obviously, fairly big feet. It's par for the course. The animation kind of scaled that down a little bit. You could do that with the cartoon, so doesn't bother me really all that much. Just a really clean looking figure. I mean, when you have this there on his back, yeah, I wish there was something that you could do with this. I mean, this folds up, so there's no real way to kind of fold that away. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, but like I said, I mean, it kind of goes along with the overall look. Just a really very cool looking figure. Articulation wise, the head is on a ball joint, so you get a nice range of motion. Kind of goes up and down a little bit. You have swivels and hinges here at the shoulder. He does rotate at the elbow, also bends at about 90 degrees at the elbow. Got the big giant tank treads there underneath his arm. Again, accurate to the cartoon. Rotates here at the wrist, which is nice. Come down here to the waist. He does have a waist rotation. It is a little limited, though, or yeah, I mean, you can kind of do it, but oh, see, that part pops off. Some of this stuff does kind of get in the way. This part here is just on some little tabs, so get that back up in there. There you go, just like that. So you do have a little bit of rotation, but there is some junk there that does kind of hinder some of it. You have forward and back hinges and such at the hips. You got the rotation at the upper part of the thigh. Rotate that around. Bends at the knee. The ankles don't really move forward and back, but they do have some ankle tilt, so you can position it like that and get a really cool dynamic pose for Warpath. I don't know why you would need that, but it is what it is. But really cool. Really, really cool. That's a little bit too far. There we go. Really kind of stiff joints and tab things right here. That does kind of make me a little bit nervous in terms of locking things back in. Get that little tab right in there. But overall, a solid look. Solid look. And like I said, I've had that Generations one or whatever it was in my collection for the longest time, and it has taken a long time to get a good replacement for Warpath, and this guy absolutely nails it. So now to transform him back, we're going to remove this. We're going to straighten out his arms and fold these little bits out. Let's see, get that, come on, come on, what are you doing? There we go. Fold that out like that, and then just bring this up. You got some tabs that are going to lock things up right there. Do that on this side as well. So there we go. Bring that back. I was folding it the wrong way. That's why. Bring this up, and that's going to sandwich. You got two little posts right there that kind of sandwich in between the little bits right on the side. Now, again, this part does get a little bit tricky to do. You want to pull this torso bit away from the body, okay? When you do that, kind of push it all the way down. Keep this completely flat. Push that all the way down, and then you kind of have to come here from the bottom to push that tab through, and then you have to get the other little bit. And like I said, it's tricky to do because there's not a lot of clearance right here. Well, let's see. Let's take the head, fold that back, fold that all the way out, rotate his head around, and close that there. And let's come back to this. I'm going to push this off to the side just so I can get a little bit of clearance here. Like I said, this part does get a little bit tricky. You got a big giant tab right here, but I can't ever do it very easily. So pull it out like that. There we go. Now, make sure that this is completely down, and then bring this down, and this is going to sit along the side there. These arms are going to be kind of off to the side. So make sure that that's all completely straight. These legs here, we're going to come around to the back, take these tab in. So detach that like so. Do that on both sides, pulling that away. I'm going to rotate this around and then spin this all the way around so that the open section of his thigh is showing. Then bring this up. Let's see. Or then rotate this around like that. Bring this up, and this will tab in there. So let's do that again on this side. So again, you're going to kind of hold the thigh, rotate that piece around, rotate that, and then there we go, just like that. Get that lined up. Now these little pieces here are all going to kind of tab in along the side there. Take these, fold these up. Those are going to sit there, and then those will slot in, kind of tab in along the side. Do that as well there. And then push that in, locking that in like that. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You have to make sure that, and I don't know if I had that rotated around. There we go. You want to make sure that it's able to hinge. So if you don't have it, just kind of, again, rotate this around. It does get a little bit tricky. I'm really sorry I'm not showing this very well, but you want to make sure that that rotates out so that you can bring this arm in. Keep that up like that, and then that will lock in there. Then bring this around, sandwich those bits together, make sure that stays there, and then this, there we go. So you got that. Again, you can hinge that out, bring that in, and then bring this in like that. There we go. Bring that in. Keep that out to the side. Push that in, and you sandwich all of this right here. Now, like I said, it's not going to stay really together unless you take this. It's a little bit easier to just push it all together and then put the top ones in first. There you go, and then push that in like that. And then that's going to lay flush. That'll lay flush. That holds all of this together, and then just kind of go through and squeeze everything Nice and proper like. There we go. There we go. And then when you're done, there you have Warpath back in his tank mode. Overall, though, another figure that I'm absolutely blown away by. Vehicle mode-wise, does an amazing job of looking like that G1 character that I know and love. Yes, I'm not a big fan of the parts for me, but it works. At least, I mean, in reference to what FC talked about, the part here that kind of fills in areas becomes a shield. It's been a common thing they've been doing the past couple times. We got it with Ratchet, we got it with Ironhide. At least when in robot mode, this is a little bit more small, I guess, and doesn't really take up a lot of space like their shield part formery part. I think this does a little bit better of a job. Transformation is fun. The legs can be a little bit tricky, as you could clearly see. I still really kind of fiddle around with it, and I've transformed this guy probably a dozen times already. But you get that robot mode that absolutely looks phenomenal. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful toy. I think they did a great job again. The Kingdom line really is picking up where the Earthrise line left off, with giving us amazing figures with great engineering. Yes, it is a little bit smaller of a deluxe, but as you can see with the engineering, really involved and well done. And we have not had a good Warpath figure in some time, so this is really a nice treat. So all that being said, I would absolutely recommend picking this guy up. He is well worth having in a collection. So if this version of Warpath is a figure that you would like to add to your collection, he will be hitting at various retail locations fairly soon. So if you are looking for him, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, you can do the real simple thing and just go online to Big Bad Toy Store or Amazon. For those places, I'll put links right down in the video description where you can go there and check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you would do one very simple thing for me. And that's just to hit that thumbs up button. That audience engagement really does go a long way towards helping me out. Make sure that you get notifications really quickly, and I would really very much appreciate it. Also, I gotta send a huge shout out to all of my patrons and channel members who, through their continued support and not tauntauns, help to make reviews like this possible. And if you'd like information on how you can help support my channel by becoming a patron like these guys do, feel free to check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Optibotimus. Or if you want to keep all of your personal rewards right here on YouTube like these guys have done, consider becoming a member of Optibotimus Plus. And for that, all you have to do is click on that little join button right down there. And finally, remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.